Galnet News Digest, 27th of January 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Alexandria megaship has been found. President Hudson is set to propose new security measures. Riort stands up for the old worlds against Sirius Navy. And Emperor Arissa sends a message from her hiding place. The Aegis megaship Alexandria has been located in the Rigo TC-X B29-0 system. The ship has broken into several parts and there are no signs of any survivors. Logs recovered from the scene indicate that the megaship was sabotaged into a misjump, and that some unknown person known as the Witch wanted the Guardian artifacts from the megaship apparently to attract Thargoids. Quite why anyone would want to attract Thargoids is a mystery, but the theft was ruthless, with all 4,000 crew killed or left to starve. Aegis's chief administrator has called for a halt to the winding up process, while the implications of this new information are assessed. President Hudson has said that he plans a full programme of measures to protect the safety of the people of the Federation. Looking back to 3307, Hudson hailed the success of the Proactive Detection Bureau, which allowed a corporatist rebellion to be nipped in the bud, and the Federation's part in the Affiliated Counter-Terrorism Unit, which helped defeat the NMLA. Looking to the future, Hudson highlighted the war against the Thargoids as a particular concern. Faced with the risk that the Thargoids might strike again at any moment, Hudson will prioritise creating a federal anti-Xeno task force to replace Aegis. He did not mention the relocation of Aegis research personnel to Mars, which some believe may attract Thargoids to investigate the federal capital. Hudson also expressed his concern over internal power struggles within the Empire and the Alliance. The head of the federal opposition, Shadow President Winters, chose to highlight Hudson's recent failings, including the backlash against the Proactive Detection Bureau, which resulted in more than 60 systems leaving the Federation, Hudson's unsuccessful attempt to capture Rogue Admiral Yuri Grom, which resulted in the loss of a federal megaship, and the imprisonment of Hudson's close personal friend, Fleet Admiral Vincent, for the attempted assassination of President Halsey and for the destruction of Starship One. Winters concluded that on Hudson's watch, the Federation has never been weaker or less secure. The Sirius Corporation megaship Chariot of Rhea is being blockaded by the local Alliance faction in Riort, which claims that the deployment is illegal. The Riort Mining Coalition has said that it will not allow cargo or personnel to be unloaded from the megaship amid suspicion in the old worlds about Li Yongri's motives in deploying military equipment and personnel in Alliance systems. The Sirius Corporation has insisted that its cooperation with Prime Minister Maan will be strictly limited to anti-Xeno projects, and that the systems unwillingly hosting Sirius forces will hardly notice their presence. There is concern on both sides that the situation could escalate rapidly. If Riort succeeds in ejecting the Chariot of Rhea, then it seems likely to set a trend, with other Alliance systems also ejecting their Sirius forces. If this happens, then it may signal a premature conclusion to the Alliance-Sirius Defence Pact. Conversely, if Sirius brazens it out, Alliance systems are likely to have no choice but to put up with hosting the Sirius Navy indefinitely. A personal message from Emperor Arissa appears to give Imperial intelligence the all-clear, after allegations that the Empire's spooks had been secretly assisting Neo-Marlinist terrorists. The message, which is believed to have been delivered to the Senate by Chancellor Anders Blaine, was broadcast on all news channels as evidence that the Emperor is well and in good spirits. The Emperor has not attended any public events for a year, with her last large-scale event the funeral of Prince Harold Duval. In her message, the Emperor says she was advised to go into hiding by Imperial intelligence when they became aware of a credible assassination risk. She says she's remained in constant contact with the Senate while she's been in hiding, but assures the people of the Empire that as soon as Imperial intelligence has eliminated all NMLA sympathizers in the Imperial government, she'll return to public life. Responding to the message, Princess Aisling Duval made it clear that she will continue to have concerns for the safety of the Emperor until Her Royal Highness puts in a public appearance. She said she'd be delighted to host a reception for the Emperor in Semias, if Orissa would do her the honour of attending in person. It's unclear whether the message from the Emperor is genuine, or indeed whether it was written under duress. It's also unclear whether the Emperor is in hiding of her own free will. Princess Aisling's call for the Emperor to show herself in public is likely to be repeated, as concerns over the Imperial head of government continue to grow. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
Hi, Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
With the stars in the sky, humanity expands and thrives as it pushes back the boundaries of the universe. From the luxury of the core systems to the harsh worlds of the frontier, men still fight. Some fight for survival or greed. Some fight for a flag and others for retribution. But across the lonely darkness, they all share one aim: to be elite.
Escape Velocity, an elite dangerous audio adventure serial written and produced by Christopher Jarvis. Series 2, Episode 2, Little Girl Lost.
What's this?
Terminal information panel. Please enter inquiry.
I need a data terminal or a records office.
The data exchange in East City has public terminals for the Galactic Data Net.
Can you show me?
Please follow the signs to East City, Level 1, where you can access ground transportation.
Then I'll get my own answers.
Welcome to Horse Pilot. How can I help today?
I'm looking for somebody. I need docking clearance.
Our security systems are just checking your ship records. And I'm afraid I'm getting a red flag.
Why not check my current employer's name?
Well, I don't see how that should... Oh, I see. Clearance granted, Commander. Please head to Bay 2.
That wasn't so hard now, was it?
May I ask what brings you to Duval Terminal?
Somewhere on your station is a little lost girl. I'm here to find her.
Lave Radio Network News, bringing you the latest from the core to the frontier.
Concerns tonight as eyewitnesses share reports of alien sightings on the Rim. Residents of local systems say that orb-like craft have been passing near Tannhauser. Authorities say that Thargoid sightings are unsubstantiated and no cause for alarm. News from further afield now, as the Colmac Reeve Corporation play down fears of an epidemic of disappearances in frontier systems.
This is big country out here. There are always people going missing. What we've got is a group of disgruntled miners trying to stir trouble. Pay it no heed.
Experts say there is no indication of a statistical increase in net disappearances. Sports now, as floating sub-half Triton Angel Monroe brings victory for the Reed Quat Stranglers with a fourth successful G-ball point in many games.
I can't see May anywhere.
She'll come back, or she won't. Either way, I don't see what we can do.
You'd let her go, just like that?
It's like you say, we might be safer if we move separately. She's got issues to work through.
Come on. I've known a lot of people with troubles, but May is just a world away from that. She got the date wrong by nearly 50 years. What, did she just miss the last half century or something?
Those robots you were shipping at a cryo facility. Was she in one of those?
What? No. Did they?
Yep. As well as being impervious to scans, they contained a full life support system for freezing an occupant.
What would be the point in that?
I don't know. Maybe it's the future of passenger transportation. Stick him in a freezing mech suit and load him into storage racks.
No one would travel like that, surely. Speaking of which, I'd better order that passenger cabin.
I'd be grateful.
Cryosleep. You think it's that simple?
Well, as anything. Maybe she'd be better off on her own. Have you thought of that? Well, she won you over pretty quickly, didn't she?
What does that mean?
Got you to carry her halfway across the galaxy. She gets what she wants from people, even if she doesn't know she's doing it.
That isn't called for. I looked out for her because I didn't want a faceless corporation to treat her like property and control her future. The same reason, I might remind you, I'm transporting your tin hide around.
And with that, he turned and walked away with his dignity.
Where are you going?
As I said, safer on our own. I'm going to a bar. I'll see if I can shift those guns while I'm there.
Drinking and arms sales, what could go wrong? Oh, May. I hope you're okay.
Are you okay, little girl? Are you looking for something? Work, perhaps?
I've never been in a space station like this before. A hollow cube lined with cities. There are so many streets.
Ah, yes. Coriolis Station is like a planet. The slums grow with the people. Look out!
It's eerie with the other cities just hanging there.
I find it comforting. No matter how bad it gets, I can look up at the other 3 cities and imagine that somewhere in that mess, someone is worse off than me. You laugh like someone who hasn't for a while.
That's very true. I'm looking for someone. Actually, I'm looking for the data exchange.
Then, for once, I can satisfy your needs free of charge. And that's rare in any of the 4 cities. It's right through the alley, there.
Oh, thank you.
Be careful.
Greetings, madam. Can I be of assistance?
I'd like to access some historical records.
Text screen, audio guide, or Dreamware interface.
Dreamware? What's that?
Dallas, please respond.
I'm here.
What is your ETA?
I've just requested docking clearance. Where are you?
I've been here for hours. Commander Thane has landed with the girl.
That was quick work.
Your people hired me for my efficiency, Dallas. That is why you are working for me. I've acquired a sniper rifle that will be more than adequate for the task. I would have completed the mission by the time you got here if I didn't require your help. Risha out.
Barkeep set me up with another one.
Certainly, sir.
I mean, really. I had the most perfect setup. Place of my own, away from people, my own business, and then bang! Feds blow in and take it all away.
I understand, sir.
You're programmed to be a good listener, you know that?
There, sir.
Now, I want you to listen to this. I was given this card in the market by a mutual friend. I want to talk to Torrestadt.
I'm sorry, sir. There's no one here by that name.
Yes, there is. And he's watching me right now, isn't he? Through that camera in your skull. Or is your shining personality enough to manage the drugs, Tin Man?
Psst. You have a card?
Right here.
Come through then. You don't look like a buyer, friend.
I'm not. Usually I'm a seller, but today I need information.
Why do you think I can help you?
Because you're like me, a tech bootlegger.
That's a vicious slander.
Isn't it always?
What's the payment?
What do you think of this blueprint?
Oh, that's beautiful.
I thought a man of your nature would like it. You can have this design and make these all the livelong day in exchange for a little bit of forbidden knowledge.
What is it you want to know?
What can you tell me about Dreamware trauma?
What's Dreamware?
Interactive total immersion experience. See, hear, and feel the records in which you have an interest.
I'll try that, I guess. Does it cost a lot? I don't have much.
Take this chit over to a terminal. It's free for 10 minutes. Then you must pay. If you buy a drink, it's free as long as you're ordering.
Okay. Now what?
Please take this headset and place it carefully, but firmly, upon your head.
And what? So I just...
I'm the Dreamware data attendant. I'm here to help you. Please provide search criteria.
I'm looking for Senator Tobias Havelock.
470 results found.
Can you give me a summary?
Tobias Victor Havelock. Born 3140. Died 3216. Served in the Imperial Senate from 3185 until his death. He made major contributions to the Slavery Health Guarantee Bill, Imperial Mining Jurisdiction Charter, Trooper Enhancement Program.
Stop. Trooper Enhancement Program. That was on his memorial. What is it?
The Imperial Trooper Enhancement Program is a Senate-approved genetic manipulation regime. Seen here, soldiers are adapted for improved agility, hand-to-eye coordination, physical strength, and mental acuity. The program has been lauded as a success throughout the Empire, marred only by controversy in 3216, with the death of the program director, Senator Havelock.
Computer, Senator Havelock, controversy and death. Can you tell me more?
Records are protected by net security.
Oh. Help. Help. Computer, override security. Code word, Echidna.
Access granted.
How did I know that?
There are multiple results.
Multiple results?
There are Imperial and Federal sources for this subject.
Give me Federal coverage first.
Accessing dream sequence for Federal meeting. 3215.5.8.
Come in, Senator. Please, take a seat.
Thank you, General.
It's my father.
Dreamware trauma. That's a bad business, my friend. One of your customers?
Thankfully not, but I have a friend who is exhibiting worrying behaviour, and I'd like to know if they had a bad dream sequence.
Well, it's more common with bootleg terminals, although even Signian Dreams have seen cases. They hush it up, of course. All I can tell you is that the subject will suffer hallucinations, memory loss, struggle to tell fantasy from fiction.
Memory loss? Might they not know the current date?
It's certainly possible. If the entertainment they were watching was set in a certain period, an episode of Dreamware trauma might leave them believing it's the date of the story. Assuming we're talking about an entertainment sequence here, not an educational use.
Educational use?
Yeah, sure. Schools use them, military uses them. They have modified Dreamware units which speed up the education process. Hell, even Signian Dreams do custom units. They're pretty careful though. Rich parents tend to be unhappy when their kids come home with DT.
May said she never finished her school. Could an episode of Dreamware trauma be triggered if the subject didn't complete the sequence?
Well, sure. Especially if the connection was terminated without shutting down. That's really damaging. But hey, the good news is your friend might get better if they can go back and see it to the end.
After seeing what Big Sister did with their education, I think May's better off dropping out.
Perhaps. Going back in is risky either way.
Risky? Why?
If you suffered a Dreamware trauma, especially if you have the more serious symptoms like hallucinations and schizophrenia, going back into any dream sequence is risky. You take the delusion in with you. Sometimes you broadcast the nightmares into the dream sequence itself. It can get real trippy. So I've heard.
If someone on this station wanted to find someone's records, where would they go?
A data exchange, of course.
And does the data exchange use Dreamware terminals?
Of course. They all do.
Space. I've got to go.
Hey! My blueprint!
Keep it.
My father. Can he see me?
Negative. This is a pre-recorded dream sequence. The persons herein are not programmed for interaction.
We're pleased with your results, Senator. We've seen a measurable increase in the performance of federal troops.
Thank you. I'm pleased with my work on this. It is the sum of my life's achievements. Understanding human physiology, mentality, the very spark of life itself. Nothing could be more important.
Obviously, we're very pleased with the military applications here.
My father was working with the Federation.
I am sensing a but, General. Something on your mind?
We had a complaint from one of the lab techs. I can't even credit some of the things he said you were doing. Unauthorized tests, brainwashing, experiments on your own family.
Progress comes at a price, General. You know that.
The federal government cannot countenance this barbaric behavior. I will have to report this.
Barbaric behavior. You're not reporting anything, General. You came to me to buy troops for illegal operations into Imperial territory. It's a little late to be claiming the moral high ground.
Listen here, you freak. I'm trying to level the playing field here. The Empire has modified soldiers. We have to match them.
an aim which the Federation expressly forbids. Who will suffer more from your report, General? A senator and geneticist on the Imperial payroll, or a high-ranking military officer working without official sanction?
Why, you little...
Yes, General. What will you do?
I suppose the Federation can do nothing.
No, it can't.
This isn't over, Havelock. You mark my words.
End of recording.
You said there was an Imperial recording too. Can I see that one?
Accessing dream sequence for Imperial meeting. 3215.6.13.
This is utterly outrageous. I refute these allegations completely.
Of course you do. I would expect nothing less.
How can you trust information that comes from the Federation? They're lying.
For what purpose?
To discredit me. My work has made our troops strong.
Work which you are planning to share with the Federation by all accounts. And at the cost of your own family, no less. Damning, very damning.
How can you believe them?
Whether I believe them or not, the scandal has spread, dear boy. Your Federation paymasters have burnt your bridge for you. I can't save your position now.
But I'm so close.
The thing is, dear fellow, it's not the treachery or the dirty experiments that concern the Emperor.
It isn't?
It's the end game that disturbs him. We know what you've really been up to, Havelock, old boy, and that won't do. Won't do at all.
Won't do. I'm giving the people of this empire an unprecedented gift.
A gift which our society cannot support. The Empire is a carefully and deliberately planned creation. What you intend would shift all of that out of balance. Break the delicate equilibrium.
Equilibrium? I'm talking about human lives.
I know, and I'm talking about civilization. What you want to do just isn't in the Empire's best interests. You're through, Havelock. Nothing can save you now.
No! I won't be beaten. Hello, May.
What? You can see me? I thought this recording was one way only. You shouldn't be able to see me.
You've just plugged your head into a dream reader, May. In this place, your own thoughts and dreams mingle with reality. At last we can talk outside of your nightmares. If you'd finished your lessons, you'd be able to talk to me like this whenever you wished. You must have questions.
Are these recordings true? Did you do all of these things?
I made a lot of mistakes, May. Mistakes I came to repent. I need you now to undo the damage I did.
But, Daddy, what happened to the last 50 years? How did you die? Where are you?
I can only tell you what you already know, May. What's in your head. According to these records, I was executed by the Empire. But there is much more you can find with the security access you carry.
How do I have security access? How do I know about guns and ships?
You know a great many things. You have knowledge and skills. You are being prepared for a terrible purpose, May. A purpose you must fight. If you don't, the civilized galaxy as we know it faces destruction.
But how can I...
There you are. It's time for school, May.
May, I'm not the only thing from your nightmares that can get out. Run!
What?
Run!
Come back here, May. You aren't finished with your lessons. I have a knife here, May. Perhaps we need to cut the next lesson into your skin.
Leave me alone!
Take off the headset, May.
Take it off.
Do it quickly.
Negative. Removing the headset prematurely can cause significant psychological damage.
You can't get away, May. For every drop of blood you spill, the lesson will be ingrained deeper.
Take it off!
Do not remove the headpiece. You may suffer a cerebral episode.
Come back!
No!
Come on. This is quality Imperial merchandise.
2. I will pay 2.
2? I can get 2 in the system I bought the stuff from.
That is my offer.
300, or I walk across the market to the lady who's been staring at us since we started and sell it to her.
5.
Sure. Deal.
Handprint?
Pleasure doing business with you. Got a lot of stock here.
I meet a lot of people.
What's under the sheet? Witching hell.
You like? Robots, all the way from Delta Bovonics.
I know what they are. I've seen them before. You should ditch them. They bring bad luck, friend.
Looks like bad luck is here already.
Who's that?
I'm looking for someone. This girl may have a lock. Reward available for useful information. Well, let's just say, if you've seen her, then you really don't want to keep it from me. Most of you spaces fear dying in the vacuum. Let me assure you that what I can do to you in the flesh is much, much worse. If any of you know anything, post it to the bulletin board. Then get out of my way.
What do you want, Kurlek? This isn't a good time.
I think May's in danger.
You've seen the assassin too?
Assassin?
Tall chick with a rifle, flashing May's photo all over the market.
A sniper, space.
What were you calling about?
Well, I think May's gone to a data exchange to look for her father, but there's a chance that Greenway interface could hurt her.
Either way, it sounds like we need to find her, now.
Medical team to data exchange. Medical team to data
Can you
exchange.
turn that up?
Incident involving Dreamwear headset. Possible mental trauma. Subject is human female, early teens. Please report to 31st and settle immediately.
Oh, no.
That sounds like her.
I'm going after her.
That's it, Thane. Go and find your friend. Dallas, come in.
I'm here.
I've got a job for you.
Excuse me. May! Excuse me. May! Oh!
Sorry.
Hey, watch where you're walking. Excuse me, miss. Have you seen a girl?
We have lots of girls.
About so high, dark, cropped hair?
Ah, yes. The sad-faced girl. I've seen her.
Where is she?
She got into some kind of trouble in the data exchange. She ran off.
Where did she run?
Into the admin quarter. Hey, wait!
I can't stop. May! May!
Are you okay? You look lost.
I'm looking for someone.
Who?
I'm not sure. It's terribly important I find them.
Another drifter. Get off this station and go home, kid. There's no work for you here. Take it from me.
No, please. You have to help me. I have to get to...
Where?
Star. Van Marnen's star. I must get there. It's terribly important. That's where it's going to happen.
Van Marnen's star? You are lost, little girl. That's the other side of the core.
I came here to meet somebody. Somebody important. My sister.
That sounds like it would be best. There's nothing quite like family.
Mister, do you have a ship?
Well, sure.
Will you take me to Van Marnen's star?
What? Of course I won't.
You're a cryomatic, aren't you?
What?
I can tell. Your eyelids are shaking and your fingernails are red-tinged.
What's it to you?
I can get some for you. It's not hard to find in a station like this.
You can get cranium.
If you agree to take me in your ship.
I did as you instructed. I put the tracking chip on Thane.
Did he recognise you?
I don't think so. I had to bump him to pass off the contact, but he was searching for May so intently he didn't see who I was.
I flushed him out. Is he heading for the girl now?
Yes. An eyewitness pointed him in the right direction. He'll find us soon enough.
Which city?
East.
Then I will set up. Thane will lead us straight to her. Only contact me now if something changes. I need to prepare my rifle.
Thane, where are you?
Heading into the admin quarter. Someone saw May come this way.
Well, that's good. Lots of tall buildings. If you find May and keep her to the side streets, our sniper won't get a clear shot.
Wait. There she is. May! May!
Where is she?
Standing on the corner of Cassandra and 9th, talking to a pilot.
If memory serves, it's surrounded on all sides by tall buildings. As long as your sniper isn't in one of those, she'll be fine.
May? May!
Hello? Are you talking to me?
No time for jokes, May.
Thane, get down.
What? May is here.
I've been stupid, it's a trap.
What do you mean?
The Coriolis station.
I don't understand.
Cities facing on all sides. The sniper isn't near you, the sniper is above you. With a rifle like that, she can fire from one face to another. You've been flushed into a clearing.
May? May, get down! Please, May, get into cover!
Can you find my sister? I need to get to Van Marnen's star.
May! May, no!
Get out of there. Thane, get out!
Oh, space, no. No, no, no. May! What have they done?
Excellent. Dallas, come in.
I'm here.
The girl is dead. Do you want me to kill the pilot too?
Leave it for now. We might need him.
There's a crowd gathering around the body. I can hear security drones. Ballistics will give away my position soon. I need to move.
There's a problem.
What problem?
I've been studying the station's security footage. What I can get at least. Some of the sightings of the prototype put her in different cities at similar times. Based on the accounts, there's no way she can have travelled between these places in that time.
Wait. What are you saying, Dallas?
May. May, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I left you. I leave everybody behind.
Thane?
What? May! How?
Oh, that girl. Is she dead?
I don't understand.
She looks just like me. Thane, who is she?
I thought she was you. Oh, I was chasing after her and the shot.
Who is she? How can she look like me?
I don't know. I'm sorry, mate. I don't know. May? May?
Not now.
You know what this means.
Of course I know. I know. I understand everything now, Thane. I'm a clone.
What? How can that be?
It's right in front of you, Thane. That bullet was meant for me. But we have to move. The sniper won't stop here.
But...
Move, Thane.
In episode 2 of Escape Velocity, Christopher Jarvis played Thane, Amy Timms May, Alan Wales Kerlek, Liam McCauley Dallas, and Katie Howes Risha. Nick James was Senator Havelock, Georgia Darlison the teacher, Ken White the general, and Janet Bauer Imperial Consul, with Drew Wagar as the addict, Grant Walcott as Tollestadt, and Rebecca Keyes as the courtesan. Additional parts were played by the cast. Escape Velocity was written and produced by Christopher Jarvis, with music by Alan Stroud, and is a Radio Theatre Workshop production for laveradio.com. Elite is copyright Frontier Developments. For more information, please visit escapevelocity.laveradio.com.
Authorization cleared. Proceed to landing pad 39er. Automated docking confirmed.
so far, and now you're in my own backyard. And I've been minding all my own business, minding all the stones I can't see. It all revolves around me. You turned the fool. Before you even scanned me, I knew. 'Cause I've been minding all my own business, minding all the stones I can't see. But now you've come for me. Put away your guns, put away your threats and your taunts, they don't mean that much to me. Put away my boy, don't come here no more, or you'll find out there's much more to me. Would quickly drop the pain I'd and fly. But I got something in my heart for you, something that you might wanna see. I'll set the baby free, oh, don't be fooled. This top 10 ain't no big heavy mule. Oh, it's been engineered to death for you, hope you'll be impressed as your shields fall to hell, boy. Put away your guns, put away your threats and your taunts, they don't mean that much to me. Put away my boy, jump to cruise my boy, your high wake is the last thing I'll see.
The Lave Radio project was our last bet.
Broadcast from an orange.
Buzzer! 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 Do the thing! Do the thing!
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Geronimo! Ben, do you have anything to say about low sex? Nor, as everyone else likes to call it, the penis rocket.
Why not?
We can all give you a warm hand in your entrance.
Yeah, that butt clenching really was awesome.
Would be absolutely terrified of anything,
Sunday, I had a good time making a 10-year-old boy cry. Have you finished playing with your bunny?
Remember, this is the show where good ideas come to die. Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 376 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, otherwise known as Cullen Ford, Chief Archivist on Lave Station, and joining me in the orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, that's Commander Adla Weiss.
We do have technical difficulties. Ignore what they're saying behind the curtains.
Are we? Well, what's gone wrong now?
Nothing, it's just the live stream saying we're having technical difficulties, even though it was actually just Norman doing things deliberately.
All right. Okay, then. We also have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit.
Hello.
Hello. We also have our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And also completing the lineup, we have a guest. Do you want to introduce the guest, Commander Shan?
The guest is the no longer mythical and well-discussed eldest Mini Shan.
Which I think he finds quite ironic to be referred to as Mini.
Well...
Let's just say in the pre-show he was talking about enjoying stroking his father's helmet.
What?
Ben!
Now.
I'm so disappointed I missed that.
Oh, wow. Off to a...
What's that effect anyway?
Right.
Commander Lenin has just said a full tower Shan rather than Midi Shan. So yes, full tower system.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I must admit that went south faster than Captain Scott, didn't it? So, right. If you wish, you can join us live. We are hanging out in game. Ben, you're driving around somewhere, are you?
I'm just lurking around Lave Station at the moment, or at least
Yeah.
I will be once I hit the go in button. I'm too
So-
busy talking just now.
Fair enough. I mean, so there'll be Ben hanging around Lave Station. If my internet can handle it, I might pop in as well. But, as per usual. If you can't get to us in game, you can join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or YouTube, look up Lave Radio, and Facebook, look up Lave Radio as well. So we're going to go around everybody and see how they've been for the last couple of weeks or so, and we'll start with Psychit. Are you feeling better, dear?
I am. I'm feeling a lot better, thank you. The whole house came down with something grotty. So it was the executive decision was made just to, not bother.
Fair enough. You've been murdering an elite lately?
Always. Why not? Yeah, no, it's been I haven't done a lot of elite. To be fair, I did some elite today, and that's the first time that I've touched it for a little while. Just like not being that inclined to sit at my computer for having a week away from it. But yeah, just been doing bits and pieces. You know how it is. Accidentally bought a sofa on Sunday.
How do you accidentally buy a sofa?
Well, I can tell you. We wanted to get like a new TV unit for downstairs for our living room, because the living room needed a new TV unit and stuff. And we were like, okay, we'll go to IKEA, because there's one in IKEA that I really like that will go with my furniture. So we'll go to IKEA and get it. But the queue to line up for IKEA was massive, and with my back, I can't stand in a queue for that long. So we made the executive decision to not buy anything and go home and order online. And then when we went to order online, the delivery was like half of the cost of the unit. So we went back, but as we went back, we found in the X display items, we happened upon a sofa, and we've been meaning to get rid of one of our two-seater sofas for a little while, and it just so happened that it was like discounted by a good chunk of money, and we accidentally bought it and paid for delivery, which was kind of beyond the point. But that's how you accidentally buy a sofa.
You just think, oh, that's cheap, I'll have it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. And then a mad dash to try and get rid of our old sofa by the fact that it's being delivered tomorrow. So yeah, fun.
Ah, yes, I know that. Oh, we need to get rid of this
that
because
thing?
yes.
When you were a kid and the supermarket tactic of putting chocolate bars right near to the tills so that the kids would pick up the chocolate bar and can I have one, and parents would spend more money. With me, it is soft furnishings apparently.
Right. Okay. So no one put cushions by the tills because that'll get Psychic spending her money. Okay. We'll move on to Ben. What have you been up to this week?
Mostly, I think the most exciting thing of my week was either giving blood. So that was always fun. And I've only got a small bruise left after that. Or going out for curry and a beer with you.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I did visit you and to pick up some computery bits for my own DIY project.
Does my thermal exhaust port fit in your containment unit?
It doesn't. So I have a new thermal exhaust port.
So Ben, how was your first date with Colin?
I think it went very well, don't you?
Well, the curry
are you going to have a second date?
Oh, we did find out that Colin does like a nice lassie.
Yeah, that was unique. I never knew that I liked lassie, and there was me thinking it was some kind of border collie. But no, yeah. So I was down at Birmingham to visit Ben and also pick up some computery bits. So 2 hours down the M6 and 2.5 on the way back because the M6 closes completely on a Saturday night, apparently. So, yeah. Any gaming?
Just a spot of the usual, really. Spot of Elite, spot of Star Citizen, spot of RimWorld, spot of Minecraft. My usual.
No influence then.
And some Red Dead Redemptions as well.
So nothing that I did has influenced any of your gaming purchases really recently.
Oh, I've purchased something, but I haven't played it yet because I'm going to start playing that after I finished Red Dead Redemption. But yes, I did see that Mass Effect Legendary Edition was 50% off.
Yeah,
so
that one got me.
Yeah, I picked that up for 20-something quid rather than nearly 60 quid.
Yes, well. Okay. Commander Shan.
Before I go into my week, I just got some questions regarding on what you lot have been up to this week.
Here we go.
So, Psychic, wanting to minimise postage by buying other stuff, is that a valid tactic? 'Cause there's a whole load of stuff I want, but I can minimise postage on and use the same reason.
Sure, whatever floats your boat.
And the Birmingham date thing.
Yes.
Did you go Dutch or did Ben treat you?
But we went Dutch.
Okay.
I don't understand. Sort of two. Oh, never mind. Anyway.
Yeah, Colin paid his own way, thank you very much. I'm not that cheap a bastard. Actually, no, I am that cheap. I don't know, something like that.
Anyway, so my week in game. We'll find out more about that later on, I think. Outside of the game, I went to the office, or the main office, for the first time in 3 years today. And it was like I'd survived the Thanos snap.
Yes, I know the feeling.
Because all the hot desks were empty. There's only about 25 people in a site that pre-working, not working from home, had about 350, 500 people in it. So
Wow.
it was just empty. Usually you used to have struggle getting meeting rooms, and you'd be whatever. And it was just, as I say, like a Thanos snap. It was just completely gone. But it was good to catch up with a couple of people I hadn't seen for ages, and I actually did some proper work with them face to face. So it was a useful trip, but it was just strange. Let me see. A Hobbs report. Hobbs is trying to game the system with his one fast cat wheel. What he does, because he knows if he runs on the wheel, he'll get a treat. So what he does is he'll take about 4 steps on the wheel and then sit down and go, right, with some food. And he'll just keep 4 steps. That want food now. I've earned it. Can't continue food. So we're having to try and find ways in which to extend the amount of time he runs on the wheel without reducing his incentive for running on the wheel. So he's trying to game the system. But again, that's the standard with that make of cat.
Okay. Right. Well, we'll obviously invite our guest onto the show for the moment. I think you just want to be referred to as Lawyer, not Mini Shan or Maxi Shan or anything like that.
So, is this where I discuss my week?
Yeah, you can do if you like.
Well, I went to a place on the weekend with my girlfriend called Saffron Walden. Has anyone heard of it before?
I'm afraid not.
I have. Anyway.
Well, we went there. It was incredibly Neapolitan. As this, I guess, medium-sized, maybe large village with a Norman castle in it. The only interesting feature we found there. And had all these interesting cafes run by all these interesting people with these interesting foods, and we had Subway for lunch. So that doesn't stomach consumerism, I don't know what.
So basically, all these interesting cafes, and you go for a Subway.
Correct.
Ah.
And we sat in Subway and heard all the people come in who also chose to go to Subway instead of the interesting cafes and tried to guess their orders.
Well, is it judging them by their orders? Oh,
yep.
that person looks like a tuna melt guy. Or
exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly.
So give us an example. So I'm curious now. Give us an example of what, say, a tuna melt guy would be, and who would like a foot long as opposed to a half a foot long, that sort of thing. So give us some stereotypes that we're using.
Well, without being too rude, there was one lady who came into the shop, and the door was regulation size, but not her size. That's all I'll say. And she sort of waddles up to the counter, and I just immediately look at my girlfriend and go, "That's a meatball Mariana." And what she orders was mind-blowing. She did order meatballs, but not any regular meatballs. She ordered vegetarian meatballs. So
wow,
that's the sort of example that I hope you're looking for. But yeah, other than that, you guys covered gaming, but I'm a very one-note gamer, so I can only focus on one thing at a time, which has been God of War on the PC release. I never played it on PlayStation, so that's been pretty fun. And obviously I started Elite this week as well, which is the reason I'm here, but I'll discuss that later. So yeah, I think that's enough of me talking now.
Okay. Well, it's nice to have you on board. I hope that your father doesn't embarrass you too much. Right. Well, let's have a...
That's the whole idea.
He'll find that task very impossible.
Challenge accepted. Anyway, carry on.
That's someone's laid down the law there. Right. Okay, let's have a look at what I've been... I went a bit Elite crazy this week. Instead of finishing Mass Effect 3, I fought against Sorius and Riot, of which I did a new top shift. The Cullen for Colonia has now taken a bit of a detour as I go off the beaten track to try and get as many unmapped systems as I can. My power play commander has now decided that the Python should be the next ship he flies. So that's going to be basically grinding out some extra credits. And of course, on Saturday, I visited Ben in his Gunter hideout down in Birmingham for a curry and computer bits. So, yeah, interesting week. Anyway, moving on from there, let's have a look at the development news and what have the devs said this week. Well, obviously, Update 10 dropped last week, and as per usual, whenever we have one of these updates, some things went a bit wrong. And of course, today, Sally announced that the hotfix for 10.1 has dropped, and this means that the following things have been fixed. So a fix has been implemented for the HUD failing to update when the SRV would collect cargo. You would previously have to relog in order to make further collection, so that's been fixed. A fix has been implemented for the deceased NPC bodies blocking reactor consoles. Another stability fix, and this one will be of interest to commanders who are currently struggling through the process through the main menu before encountering a crash. So a nice little patch. I think I'm still in the process of upgrading mine at the moment. However, over the weekend and today, there have been server problems. Did anybody else have these? Because I know I did.
Yeah, there's been a fair amount of yellow adders, which I'm pretty sure, Colin, is to do with your undying allegiance to the adder. I just want to spread them everywhere.
You wash your mouth out with soap and water.
So yeah, yellow adders I've been getting quite a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting similar issues where it takes a long time to transition between ship and on foot or ship and SRV, and Braidman's tunnel seems to be going on for ages, so to speak. So I've yet to see if that one's been fixed yet. They say it has been, but yeah, we got to test it. Let's see. According to the Steam charts, player numbers in January were 20% higher than in December. However, it does appear these numbers have now kind of plateaued or leveled off, but they are the highest since July last year. So yeah, it's probably about double what we had in October, but the numbers do seem to have steadied. So that's at least they're not going down, which is a good sign. Now, this is quite interesting. We have now not had any streams from Frontier about Elite this year so far. So that's the whole of January. Nothing today. There have been plenty of posts from Sally, Paul, Zach, and Bruce, but nothing from Arth. So it's like Arth's disappeared.
Have there been posts about Warhammer? I know that's a bit of a roundabout thing to say, but that team also work on Warhammer. Maybe he's been helming that instead.
Yeah, we know he's been watching the forums, but not that anybody is stalking him at all, Ben. But yeah, and of course, the one thing that I think we're a little bit taken aback with, there's been no development update. Arth did mention they'd be returning to doing these end of month developer updates at January, but that doesn't seem to have happened. So yeah, I think we're the only one who haven't noticed yet. So there's not really much to discuss apart from the for the update. Although, to tell you the truth, just quickly go around the crew and see. I mean, have you noticed any update in your frames, smoother performance, etc.?
Like Ben? The exact opposite.
You've had exactly the opposite, Psychic.
Yeah, I don't. But the thing is, I don't know. I don't know whether that might have been other things being mitigating factors. It's working lovely on my laptop right now. It's playing beautifully, but earlier today it was chugging. I was in the single digits for frames, and that was not good.
Oh, what were you doing?
Literally what I'm doing now.
Oh, right. So,
like conflict zones and stuff.
Is this on foot or is this in space?
On foot.
Yeah.
I haven't done a conflict zone in space since Odyssey. That's a lie. I might have done one and then gone back to doing it on foot.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I must admit, I actually haven't done any running around settlements, but all the rest of the stuff that I've done has been silky smooth. I've been quite impressed by it, to be honest. So I suppose I should run around a settlement or two, because when I know the one thing that I normally do test is when I land on a planetary base, because as soon as I land at a planetary port and walk around the concourse at one of those places, that's the real test for my graphics card, and it seems to be quite good at the moment. So fingers crossed. Ben, Shan, have you had any experience of slowdown?
I haven't had any slowdown at all, regardless of what other people have been experiencing. So far, I've been fine. We've made the connectivity issues I've had, I think, this week.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but touch wood, I'm sort of hardware capped now at sort of 6. I'm a monitor speed of 60.
Right.
So that seems to be
Yeah. So you seem to be okay.
Yeah, but touch wood, as I said.
Yeah. I mean, mine's improved. Actually, I'd say it's not. The number of frames hasn't gone up, but I will say that it doesn't drop frames, which I think is a better than having 60 frames a second, which suddenly drops down to about 20 and then back up again.
I would rather be constantly at, say, 40 than running at some crazy thing and then down to 20 and then crazy high, then down to 20. That would just do my head in.
Yeah. But that's not what I'm dealing with. It's now just static. So I'm quite impressed with update 10. I think it needed to. I think those fixes were definitely needed before something new comes in. Anyway, shall we go and we'll talk about the in-game events or what has been happening this week? Well, on the 26th of January, Arissa has addressed the Empire. The Emperor, of course, had gone into hiding thanks to the NMLA. However, it does seem to be that it was another communication via the Senate, so no one technically has seen her in person for almost a year. And of course, that's got the conspiracy nuts going. Shan, you're the conspiracy nut here. Do you think we've got a dead emperor on our hands?
I don't think so. However, game-wise, it has been a while since they had the get an Imperial ship for having no faction and a cheap price event. I think it was when the last Emperor died in 2015, was it? So it's been a few years since we've had that kind of fire sale. So we're probably due for one, actually.
Right.
So I'm looking at it from a game mechanic rather than a story mechanic, because they can invent stories to fit whatever game thing they want to happen.
Psychic, do you think that the Emperor's dead and we're just seeing a puppet?
No, but maybe because of the same reasons. Because we'd do something free or a treat or something that might be nice.
Okay, fair enough then. I like that.
You know what? The Emperor is waiting on console release. When we get console release, the Emperor will come back. That's what I think is going to happen.
I see. It's all part of the Xbox and PlayStation mafia. Then they're going to release it when the game's released. Odyssey's released on console. On the 27th of January, conflict erupted in the Riot system. Now, this I found quite interesting. That the Sirius Corporation moved their megaship into the Riot system, and the people at Riot didn't like that, and a war started. And it was a phenomenally one-sided war. Normally at this point in the week, we're talking about community goals, which have got a little bit of way left to run. This community goal was basically won and done by Sunday night in the favour of Riot. I've never seen it. I've never seen something go that quickly over to one side. I joined in. Did anybody else join in on this one?
I didn't get chance.
Going to join. This is what my plan was for last night, but that didn't happen.
I think what they did didn't. Now again, this is last week, so everything's a bit hazy from last week. But didn't they say that it was only going to be like ship combat that you could claim the bounty vouchers for? But it turned out that it was everything.
Oh,
is that right?
That.
I swear, I swear that I'm just repeating nonsense.
I do know. Well, I only took out ships, so I didn't go down onto the ground. I wish I'd known that. Otherwise, I would have joined in with a couple of ground actions. But yeah, so all done. For those of you who are interested, it was. I think Sirius had managed to get to tier 2 when the Riot Mining Company managed to clear the board. So I think it's a complete victory to Riot there. We're just waiting on the updates. And ironically, people reckon that the Sirius Corporation had the better reward, but people decided that they would prefer to help Riot win, which I thought was against normal play, isn't it? Normally they go for the best reward. Anyway, well, moving on from there, obviously new starships, new starports have been created all along the Colonia Bridge. In addition to that, people also got their FSD for doing their work. It took quite a while for the FSDs to appear. Apparently, these FSDs, you can't engineer them just yet, but you will be able to engineer them eventually, which is going to be interesting. Now, this is actually quite interesting as well. The remnants of the Aegis organization have warned that the Azimuth Corporation has survived. Now, this is just to refresh people's memory, the Azimuth Corporation was the one that tried to merge humans and Thargoids together, and then they seem to disappear. Well, apparently Azimuth, the people in charge of Aegis do not want their organization wound up because they see Azimuth as a threat, despite the fact that I think the superpowers have written Aegis off and have started moving on. And finally today, ACT, the task force which is investigating the NMLA, has defied the Imperial decree to stop looking into Imperial intelligence, as they say that the Imperial intelligence's communication network is far too similar to the communication network used by the terrorists. So they think that some support within Imperial intelligence has been supporting the terrorists and are trying to track them down. Now, in other player group news, we've got Operation Ida. They are working on Lyman Legacy on HIP 16753. And the Anti-Xeno Initiative, the Pleiades sector is now clear of any Thargoid bug incursion. And the AXI are now focusing mainly on the Witchhead Nebula with the Coalsack as well. So there's Evangelis and Lembas in the Witchhead and Coalsack sector VU-0B6-6. Catchy title for all those that want to get involved with a bit of Thargoid action. Commander Shan.
Do you think that Frontier internally curse the anti-Xeno initiative? Darn it, they've cleared the Pleiades now, we've got to think of something else to do in there. They kind of they think they're too efficient and they want to kind of string it out a bit, but they can't. You see what I mean? It's kind of, are they a bit too efficient, you think?
Well, I mean, personally, I don't think so. It's taken quite a while for the anti-Xeno initiative to wear down the amount of systems. There's still 6 systems which are under Thargoid threat at the moment. Normally, they'd be out of the way within a couple of weeks.
But they started off with a great degree of incursion that we'd seen for quite some time. So if you like, the bar had been raised, and it's taken longer to get to this point because there was more to do.
Yeah, well, the Thargoid, well, ever since Salvation fired that second weapon, the Thargoids have backed off. So we're just going to have to wait for the next shoe to drop. I think things are just seem to be focusing around Aegis and Azimuth, and the response to Aegis being wound up seems to be the priority at the moment. But yeah, I mean, do you want to see more Thargoid incursions coming in, Shan?
Yes, but I think if they just target the same systems over and over again, it gets a bit kind of samey. And
yeah,
but even if say if they attacked Sol or Akanar or anywhere like that, if they attack someone, yes, there'd be a bit of a change. But I guess I'd want to see the nature of their attacks change rather than just keep doing the same thing again.
Well, you'd like to see them sort of on the move and getting stronger in the same time, little tweaks to.
Yeah, I think I'd actually like them to jump into a system and see the system under attack, rather than you jump into a place and find the space station's on fire. To actually have that interactive. Oh my God, they're attacking the station. We've now got to defend the station and away from the Thargoid. So basically, you make it an interactive attack, and how the players react and beat back.
Yeah.
That depends on what happens to the space station.
Rather than just a calculated attack for 10 minutes on a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, as much as I do like the Thargoid combat zones, I mean, they're actually quite fun. I would actually like to see maybe a little bit more variety in this, because we've had the same variety for almost 2 years. Sometimes you think maybe it's time for an update.
The anti-xenophones are getting really good at it as well, so
yeah, I mean,
more of a challenge.
If they can get rid of a Medusa with a blooming adder.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen someone
in a sidewinder.
Yeah, I mean that was just phenomenal. So yeah, it's. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think we're ready for the next phase of Thargoid incursion now. But then again, if they take it away, it will be like the drought when everybody was just saying, "Oh, give us something," because we had something like 9 months where nothing happened on the Thargoid side at all, and people were just giving up and walking away. So a lot of the original anti-Xeno initiative people just went.
Or do you think? Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. Or do you think that the way the Thargoids will change their tactics is to attack on the ground, and then that's when we'll get person versus Thargoid on foot combat? Do you think they could be saying, "Oh, it's almost like, well, we can't win in space, so therefore we'll invade the planet," etc.? Do you think that would be an option they could go for?
That's absolutely end game.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with Psyche on that. I mean, that's like the what do you call it? The when they started attacking stations, the first time one of those stations got blown up. I think that's the end game for Odyssey. Is all of a sudden we've now got Thargoids on the ground, and I suppose that will probably be the end of the development phase for Odyssey, and start moving on to the next bit. Personally, I hope we get the console version before that.
There's no way. There is no way that we will have Thargoids on the ground before console, be it old gen console or next gen console. There's no way they can progress a storyline that much and then have to rehash it for consoles.
Yeah. Oh no, I completely agree, but it all depends on whether or not the consoles. Well, we don't know what's happening with the consoles because we haven't had a single update about consoles or anything else for that matter about future plans. So, yeah. Right. Well, it is that time of the week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Which one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Which one will you buy?
Well, ironically, after last week's B straight Pythons, there hasn't been a store alert again this week. There was actually a newsletter or a news from Elite Dangerous email that went out, which effectively just covered the same things that we did, which was the amount of exploration in the galaxy so far, the fact that the Colonia Bridge project phase 3 was completed, and they did have one little bit here where they say, looking forward to a flurry of months ahead. We hope to share even more of your amazing efforts around the Elite.
Did we lose a Colin?
I think we did. We lost a Colin.
Shan, take over. Or Ben. Somebody take over. Oh, there's Colin back. I can see him.
Sorry, we'll cut him, put him back in post.
We'll just cut him back in. It's fine. We'll just edit it back in post.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll copy previous Colin sentences.
Yeah, it's
Virtual
fine.
Colin.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm sure you've got a Colin soundboard somewhere, and it'll be perfect.
That would be a great idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll just
Roman,
put words together.
do we have one?
No.
We had a Colin. He's gone now.
We did have a Colin, and then he disappeared, and he came back. Oh my gosh.
Well, Colin's. I just got a text off Colin. Apparently, their internet's just gone.
Okay.
Okay.
So we don't have a Colin.
Rock, paper,
We'll carry on then,
who
really.
takes over?
Well, we're going to have some adverts to maybe give Colin a chance to get his net back.
No, I think Colin's gone. If he returns, he returns. But I just got a text saying their whole internet's gone. So he's tried the default. So
Okay, so we were talking about the newsletter before we quickly jump to adverts.
Yeah.
I just like a couple of thoughts from you guys when they're saying things about or looking forward to everything that they've got to share in the future. Is that how does that make you guys feel?
the fuck on with it. I think that's how it makes me feel.
It feels to me as what is normally a voice of like extreme saccharine positivity, going, oh look, we've been silent for a month and we've released an update, but we've got loads of cool stuff to come. Yeah, it's great and everything. That's great and everything. I'm really glad that you are still working on it, but there's definitely a lack. It's the lack of the things in the now, and the absolutely no communication about no streams whatsoever it's very disconcerting.
Well, it's not only that, but all we really seem to get is Sally saying, "Here's the basics. I've got to run. I'm really fucking busy." And then she'll maybe, a couple of little bits and bats, but it's always, "I'm really busy. I can't say nothing." And I think that's about all I've seen. She hasn't. It used to, like last year. Sometimes it was almost like she was on the forum all day and just chatting away with people, basically. And now it's like, this is what I need to say. I'm sorry I can't stay. I'm really busy. Am I wrong there, Sai? Because I know you're on the forums more than I.
Oh my bollocks! That's a lie and a half.
Okay, you can't be on them less than I am.
Holy no! Well, I mean, I'd have a go. Colin and Shan are forum aficionados.
Colin's definitely on the more than Colin is definitely the forum masochist, I guess I'd say. I think Shan's just a masochist.
That's fair.
No, I lurk on the forums. I used to contribute quite a lot, but it was kind of like what irritates me about forums in general is unless you are at the top of the page, no one reads it and no one responds. If you reply and you're at the bottom of the page, it's ignored because the person.
Do you mean the bottom of the forum page, or do you mean the bottom of the post? Let's say you're on a post. Okay, the bottom of the thread. Okay.
So let's say if you're at the top of page 2 of a thread, you'll get a response.
But if
you are the last post on page 2, it can be the most well-reasoned post ever, and no one will respond to it. And also, I think there's an attention span. So it's almost like you're trying to communicate with people with the attention span of a TikTok video on the forum.
The risk of sounding like a forum dad, which I guess I am, isn't that a larger problem that we have these days with things in general, with people having the attention? It used to be, people considered like a 5-minute YouTube video great. Maybe a 15-minute video if it was something big. But heaven help you if you do a half-hour video or longer. Whereas now, even the 5-minute videos are too big, and it's like TikTok or YouTube are going, "Oh shit, we're losing our audience to TikTok. Have YouTube Shorts."
Well, that is interesting because the number of YouTubers I follow, they all say they actually get the most revenue from YouTube Shorts rather than the 10 and 15-minute detailed YouTube videos.
I mean, that's
because you're trying to push that, though, isn't it? That's because YouTube are trying to push that as a competitor, so to encourage the bigger YouTubers to do so.
That's a horrible state of civilization, I think, almost. If that's that's our we only have 30-second attention span. That's depressing.
Sorry, I didn't catch the end of your sentence. I got bored.
Exactly.
Sorry, what did you say, Si?
Exactly.
Cat videos.
Cat videos, yeah. I still have a mission to record Hobbs on his wheel.
Yeah, if your wife doesn't stop you.
Well, at the moment, Hobbs is stopping himself, as I say, because he does about 4 steps and goes with for food. So
yeah, that's because you've got a smart cat.
Smart cat escaped today outside. Terrifying.
Should we? Are we returning to the no shows?
I think that's probably a good idea. Shall we have a bit of a break?
I feel like you've done enough to deserve a break, but
I feel like I've done enough to deserve a break by putting up.
Yeah. Oh. Somebody said something about a newsletter. What was it?
They came to our world long ago, 'tis said, and now they're out there, in the depths of space, far away. Or maybe you're under the sea, far below. There are the old ones, the oldest of the old, older than us, older.
That is not dead, which can eternal lie. And with strange aeons, even death may die.
Old Ones Productions. Quality art prints, t-shirts, and chess sets for horror and science fiction fans. Because you never know when you might need Cthulhu, Commander. Find us in the Lave business directory, or alternatively at www.oldonesproductions.com.
Have you been missold PPI? Python Protection Insurance was missold if you didn't want it, ask for it, or need it.
I was missold Python Protection Insurance and I got a claim worth 3,000 credits.
At Cowell & McGrath, we are ready to pursue claims for pilots who were sold PPI, even though they didn't have an escape pod.
When my partner's ship was destroyed, the insurance became invalid. I settled out of court for enough credits to restart my narcotics and weapons shipping business.
Millions have been missold Python Protection Insurance they can never claim, simply because they don't have an escape pod. Why should you pay for not reading the small print?
My husband was missold PPI. As a result of our claim, we now own Jupiter.
Cowell & McGrath, turning your carelessness into profitable lawsuits.
I could murder a cup of tea. Yorkshire Gold, if you have it. Double Yorkshire Gold. And if you don't have it, you're dead. Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
Attention, attention. Lave Station Infomercial. We interrupt your broadcast to bring you essential system information regarding the planet Lave. Form feedback from Karash. Hey guys, my sis wants you to do fake weather reports of what the forecast is like for Lave next week.
Answer. Planet-wide weather data is difficult to collate. However, we have enclosed the forecast for Ashoria over the coming week.
Tomorrow morning will be cloudy, with a chance of rain. Temperatures range from 12 to 17 degrees Celsius, or 285 to 290 Kelvin. Citizens are reminded to wear filter visors where possible to minimize exposure. The afternoon will turn colder, but visor recommendations remain in place. Rain is expected this evening with elevated levels of hydrogen.
Yes, we're back. So we still haven't got a call in, and we haven't actually talked amongst ourselves amongst who's going to take us up. So I guess I'll do it and say something along the lines of we've. So as we mentioned in the intro, Mini Shan, aka the Internet Lawyer or whatever, has just started playing Elite. I believe you're playing it predominantly on VR, yes?
Yep, that's right.
What the hell were you thinking, and why have you started getting into this game that is now 8 years old, I guess?
Well, it all stemmed from my friend, actually. We'll call him Oberlicky is his username. And I initially got VR. I thought about it for a while, did a lot of research. I liked the whole concept of it and all the games, and I decided I'd really like to get it to play DCS on, mainly.
Yeah.
Because I'm very big into DCS. I passed the whole learning curve where it's, oh my goodness, there's loads of switches, I don't know what to do. I passed that now, so I can just do it off of muscle memory. And
I got a DCS A10, and after spending about an hour,
not a good one to start with.
Okay, I spent an hour to take off, I then flew around for about half an hour. I then
Well
was like getting increasingly confident, and I was on realistic mode as well, or simulation mode rather than because it came with. I had the dials cranked up basically. I was like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. I'm not, and then I was like, being more risky. Oh shit! I just crashed into a bridge. I can't remember how the hell to start it up, and I really can't be bothered watching that tutorial again to try to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I played DCS a lot like a year ago, and I learned about 5 different aircraft just off by heart. And I took a long break from it, and the only aircraft I remember is the Hornet. But to be honest, that's been my favorite aircraft since I was born, pretty much. So
Fair enough.
I'm happy with that. But anyway, yeah, and my friend was thinking about VR for a while, and I don't think he'd ever admit it, but me buying VR kind of tipped him over the edge, and he impulse bought it and then picked it up the same day. We had to go through a lot of troubleshooting because it's a never-ending process to get your VR settings correct for your PC.
Yep. So, can I ask which VR kit you got?
We both got the Quest 2, Oculus Quest 2. I refuse to call it the Meta Quest, which is what it's officially known as now.
So the same as I've got. Are you playing it wirelessly, or are you plugged in?
We're plugged in for things like Elite and DCS for sure.
Okay, so you're not using the AirLink?
No.
Okay, that's
we avoided the Oculus trap of paying £80 for their USB-A to USB-C wire. Amazon do better wires, to be honest, just for like £15-20. So
thankfully I've got my Wi-Fi is good enough, so I've just gone with the AirLink, and
it does work well.
I love just that feeling of freedom, and just I can walk around my room or my cockpit, depending on your point of view, and not have to worry about where my cables are. But yeah,
exactly.
And I think it's what, 250 quid, something like that. You can't complain, especially for a starter VR kit.
No. So essentially, yeah, we got on DCS together, and his card is an unnamed brand, not NVIDIA. The other brand, I'll just say. That should work quite well with VR, but doesn't really in actuality. And we believe he has a faulty card as well. Every time that we play DCS, he ends up crashing. His computer just green screens to death. And then he suggested playing Elite because it's a game that's actually better optimized for VR than DCS. DCS is awfully optimized. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. I'm vaguely familiar with the concept of this game. Obviously, I have contacts, not what you know, who you know, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I'll be down for trying this in VR. Had a bit of faff with controls, and because that is quite the learning curve. All those controls to set up, especially on a HOTAS when you first start Elite, and starting in VR where you don't have that muscle memory. But yeah, we got into it. I'm still in the starter zone, but my friend Abiliki is ascended to the heavens now. I believe he told me he's just completed the Hutton Orbital.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, he spent an hour and a half doing that, apparently.
Which is more than your dad's done.
Oh, wow.
He admitted to us last week, in fact, that he's not taken the pilgrimage to Hutton.
I've got better things to do than sit in my cockpit and look at the screen for an hour and a half before I get somewhere.
You don't even need to look at the screen if you've got Super Cruise Assistant.
Well, that's not really playing the game, is it? It's like having a chauffeur.
But see, the beauty of the Hutton run is you can point yourself in the direction, then you go off and do house cleaning for an hour, then you come back and you're still going. It's brilliant.
What a gripping gaming experience.
My house was never so clean as when I was doing not the tutorial, the for the mug stuff, basically.
Did your friend pick up the free Anaconda there?
It's not free, it's 100 credits.
Unsure.
Yeah.
But
are you aware of the meme that is that there's a free Anaconda at Hutton Orbital?
No. Imagine someone in mid primary school starting university lecture. That's sort of me in Elite Dangerous.
So I remember the amount of language when you were trying to get the keys, Matt. And one of the things that we talked about in the previous week was quit points in an MMO. Would you think trying to get the key bindings right in Elite, if I hadn't given you mine to base it on, do you think that would cause some people to quit, just simply the key bindings and the way that process works, or are you
only those low in industriousness for sure? Anyone
you
who
mentioned, sorry,
anyone. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Keep going. No, you keep going.
Okay. Well, I've been gaming for a long time, so I know the first thing to do when I'm confused is go to Google and most likely to Reddit. That's exactly what I did, and I found a website there. I feel like I can't remember the name, but it had ED in it, and it had a bunch of profiles people made for my hotas as an X56, Logitech X56. There's probably literally about 50 different profiles of keys people have uploaded to that website, and you can then assign the keys off of their guide. Yeah, it's definitely time consuming, but it simplifies it. And I chose not even to take the time consuming route and just ask Dad, for the profile binds, which do make sense in the end. They don't make any sense for a DCS player, but they do certainly make sense for Elite Dangerous players. It allowed me to nail not needing to auto dock very, very early on. In fact, I just turned off auto docking within about 5 minutes of playing the game because the controls make a lot of sense for it.
I do have a quick question I'd like to ask. Actually, is I thought that these days there were a lot of standard bindings, so I'm guessing it didn't recognize that you had the X56 hot ass.
So it did, but I never ever trust default bindings in a game ever.
So
ever, not even Elite Dangerous thing.
You might have borrowed these problems yourself, or you just didn't even try them.
Well, I wouldn't know what to try. I mean, something Elite does that definitely I feel like needs to be fixed for somebody joining the game specifically with a HOTAS is that they assign their joy buttons, like press joy 3 to do this, is different to the actual joy 3 in the drivers of the joystick. So again, I had to go to Reddit.
Is actually another button.
Yeah, it'd be like joy 6, for example.
Okay, that's not so good.
So I had to go to Reddit, and some handy chap had created an image of all the X56 buttons according to Elite Dangerous. Sorry, I played a bit of League today.
Yeah.
I didn't want to admit that I played that game, but yeah. So that was helpful. I feel like Reddit and my dad and my friend have been my best friends in my experience starting this game. And I think that really indicates that if you're alone, solo, playing this game, and you don't have much experience in gaming as well, this is certainly a very overwhelming game to start out in. Also, my friends just messaged me in all caps saying there's no free Anaconda.
Oh, is he listening?
So yeah.
So
you can't.
Is he listening?
I believe so.
Okay. Hello to Mini Shan's friends.
So in terms of the because I think I mentioned this when we were going through the keybinds, because you did the tutorials and stuff as well, didn't you?
I did.
When we first joined in beta and gamma, you looked at the station services screen in your Sidewinder, and that was as much help as you got. Do you feel as though the tutorials and that were they helpful, or do you think you could have done without the time spent doing them?
I mean, it was certainly helpful in the respect of me being told what my key bindings are and then referring to that said Reddit image. But as for actually learning how to play the game and make money, it's kind of useless still. I'm aware that there's challenges that you can do in this game. I've not looked at them yet, but I assume they're just tutorials in and of themselves, but with a different name.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've not done
they're
those.
Not even. If they're the things you're talking about, I wouldn't even call them tutorials. It's like Alien Swarm or something like that. It's like, you go in and you get sort of 5 ships come after you and then 10 ships and so on.
Yeah, perhaps doing those would help out more, but I'm a quick study, so I've learned the game. The only thing I'm mildly confused on is where to get things at different stations. So especially in the starter area, I feel like the game needs to be more intuitive in directing, and maybe there is a way, but I wouldn't know it because the game hasn't told me, of finding materials you need to do things. For example, mining, I cannot find a surface scanner to put on my ship anywhere. At any of the starter stations I've visited 4 so far, and I really wanted to do some of the mining quests. I was able to buy a laser and a refinery and equip those. That's fairly straightforward, but I can't find like prospect limpets and surface scanners, and I don't know how to find them. Maybe there's a website online that allows you to look up what stations have what.
There are many websites online, yes.
Yeah. However,
Yeah,
I feel like this should be an in-game thing, in my opinion.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there are out-of-game websites, and I can ping you a couple of links that will help. But the in-game tools of where to find stuff and how to find stuff is quite lacking. For example, I mean, things like you mentioned about a surface scanner or something, and I said, oh well, you need to look at a high-tech system with a big population, etc., like that. But nowhere is that actually written down in the game. You almost have to think, well, hang on a minute, I'll try this and try this and try this. So yeah, that's a definite point. So going back to the tutorials, so you said you think they're a good way of testing out your key bindings. So what would you say after you've done tutorials? Do you feel as though the game leads you into what to do next after tutorials, or do you think it's you're like kicking the "what the heck do I do" can down the road a bit?
No, I think it does. It shoves you into the station at the end of the tutorial. I can't remember what station it was. It may have been, for me, I think it was Coelho Station at the Matet system. And then there's a bunch of missions there that you can do, and they're pretty straightforward. You just select a mission. You can, deliver coffee and whatnot. I did a bit of that. And then there's the mining missions, which obviously you won't be able to do because you can't get the equipment anywhere in the starter system. Well, if you can, I've not found it. And obviously you've got conflict zones, which obviously anyone with 2 brain cells they can bash together can figure out. If you go there, you get combat. So I feel that's pretty straightforward. The game doesn't need to hold your hand. I feel there is a line between having everything given to you and being able to figure your own path through a game. And I feel like it should only help you. Games should only help you to avoid tedium instead of avoid learning in a way. So going to find things at a station, in my opinion, others would disagree, is tedious. And I feel like a game relying on out-of-game websites to do things isn't the right approach for a game. I mean, this is not the biggest offender that I've ever played. The biggest offender of a game I've played is called Escape from Tarkov, if any of you played that game, where to complete the missions in that game, you literally have to follow imaged guides on the wiki to find anything, anywhere. If you played that game without an out-of-game website, you would not level up, you would not get anywhere. And Elite, I feel like, has that quite a bit. And I feel like that's fine, but not for somebody who doesn't want to live and breathe this game.
So what sort of, I mean, I know this is a rhetorical question, but would you describe yourself as a hardcore gamer? And would you say that Elite is your type of game you normally go for? Or what is your type of game you normally go for?
I don't have a particular. I definitely go for multiplayer games. I definitely play games to play with my friends first and foremost. But I do play single player games, and the games that I play single player always were those with a progression to them. So a good example is I recently played 2 roguelites. I played one called Hades and then one called Risk of Rain 2. I loved Hades and I hated Risk of Rain 2. Because Risk of Rain 2, yeah, the gameplay is fun, but you don't progress at all in the game. You just get better at it. You don't level up, you don't gain things, you don't change how the world looks. But in Hades, you do. You do progress, you change how the world looks, how the characters interact. And I prefer that sort of single player experience. And I feel like Elite has that. So this is sort of the game I'd go for. And the fact that it's multiplayer, a lot of my friends do play this game. And the fact that it's well optimized for VR.
So how have you found the VR experience? Because I must admit, when I started playing VR, the galaxy map and navigating I used to come out of VR, point where I wanted to go, and then come back into VR for the travel bit. How have you found the VR experience and learning to use it? Because I know I've said to you that learn to play the game on flat screen rather than VR. But as usual, you completely ignored my advice and gone straight into VR. So just kind of wondering how you're finding it.
Yeah, there's a reason I had not ignored your advice. First of all, I would recommend people not to play this game first in VR. You should play it in 2D on a flat screen and learn the game, not go straight to VR. The only reason I started in VR and I learned VR is because I trust my own aptitude as a person to quickly muscle memory and learn things in VR, and that's what's happened. Because that's how I've had it in previous gaming experiences. That's not what I recommend for most people. But the experience overall, I think, is really good. Obviously, you should run it at maximum quality as per your PC allows. And my PC is pretty good. I have a 1080 Ti, a good processor, and the game runs pretty much on Ultra. I can run the game very, very high on my VR. Not the max, but very, very high. And it looks very, very good. And I have played the game on flat as well, just to see what the experience is like. And the biggest distinction is combat on a flat screen monitor is actually a lot harder. It's much easier in VR, and also having all that dogfight experience in DCS as well. It's just sort of the same principles apply. But how the game looks and interacts, I've not had any performance issues at all. The whole inside your ship, other people's ships, planets, and space really gives you a very good sense of what it would be like to do that in real life. Like, I'll give an example. When I first started playing the game, I was using my frameshift drive, and as you guys know, it might just deposit you next to a sun that just takes up your whole screen. Well, for me, that was my entire eyesight, my eye line. I just was deposited in front of this sun. I didn't expect it to be there, and it made me jump. To be honest, it wouldn't have made me jump on a flat monitor, but because I was in VR, I had this huge sun right in front of me. It made me jump, and I feel like that's sort of biggest distinction. It's just immersion.
So you mentioned, sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I was just saying, and the game's well optimized for VR, in my opinion.
So how have you found? It's not really a flight model because it's in space, but you know what I mean. How have you found that flight model? Because I know both you and your friend are really into flight sims. And like I know we talked about Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and DCS, and you've expressed the view that actually Flight Sim 2020 isn't a patch on DCS in terms of realism for flight models. Flight Sim 2020 seems to be more primitive than what DCS is, so you can obviously tell the difference. I'm just wondering how you felt the flight model was in Elite for being in Spaceship.
Well, I wouldn't know what the flight model for a spaceship was, but compared to real life flight physics, I feel like it gets the basics. It's not similar in any way, to be honest. But obviously, like, if you want to turn better, you need to slow down. If you want to go forward, you throttle up. And unlike DCS aircraft, you can reverse in midair. That's a different concept. And obviously, you have your little side thrusters up and down that you can use in the heat of combat, and I have done. They're very good. I feel like the flight model's very intuitive. I have turned the flight assist off. That felt very floaty and a bit spongy, but that's probably because I'm not used to it. I don't think I can't really criticize on that because I'm not in a position to. I do enjoy the flight models in Elite Dangerous quite a lot, and I really enjoy docking yourself and taking off yourself. I feel that's really excellent.
And do you use fixed weapons or gimbaled weapons at the moment?
I've got gimbaled weapons right now. I only have pulse laser and the autocannon.
Just a couple of quick questions, I guess. I'm assuming from what you're saying, you're playing Horizons rather than Odyssey.
I am. Yes.
So, as an example of kids these days, in inverted commas, do you have any interest in what Odyssey even offers? If you're even aware of what it's offering.
So, from my understanding, Odyssey doesn't offer VR. Is that correct? Okay, so that was probably one of the main reasons I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. But from what Shan has told me, It offers much more in-depth on-world exploration and like raids you can do with like bases of enemies, and you go around and you shoot them and you steal stuff or whatever. Is that right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very good draw to it. I feel like that's excellent. Kids these days love shooting things. FPS games are the most popular game. I mean, the most popular game in the world is Dota 2 and League of Legends, and they're not shooter games, but that's Asia's fault. But in the Western world, it is definitely FPS games like Apex and, God forbid, Battlefield and Call of Duty, as terrible as they've been in recent years.
You're forgetting the F word.
Fortnite.
That game's been Fortnite. Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, Fortnite for sure, but Fortnite's a dying breed. I feel like
is it dying now? Okay.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, they've done all right from it though. To be fair.
Yeah, they have. You can tell what games are popular by what's popular on Twitch. That's the biggest indicator, in my opinion. The biggest FPS game right now, I think,
the only thing that's popular on Twitch, from what I understand.
Well, yeah, of course.
Colin was telling me horrendous things about just chatting.
Yeah, there's some horror stories there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys were talking about attention spans before, and I feel like a lot of people my age and younger, considering I work with people younger my age as well, I know exactly what they're playing. Predominantly, it is FPS games that they're playing.
I'm guessing
so having that element in
your
Odyssey
early
is
2020s,
excellent.
yes?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So we talked about the FPSs. What sort of complexity of combat and the interaction do you look for in an FPS? Because obviously you've got the straight, just run around and shoot everything as soon as it moves, and then you've got perhaps a more nuanced form of combat. And so the kids you work with, what sort of, do they play the nuanced sort of FPS, or are they running around Twitch shooting?
Twitch shooting. Definitely. Me and my friend group, we lean way more into the realistic type of games. So the biggest played FPS games that we play are Hell Let Loose, Insurgency Sandstorm, Escape from Tarkov, Squad. We used to play a little bit of Squad, that kind of game. Rise and Storm 2. They're all games in a similar vein. I'd say Tarkov being the most realistic out of those. And the thing that those games have in common is satisfying gunplay and feeling like you're actually shooting someone when you're doing it, and being rewarded correctly for kills, and just an overall sense of
this is how you can tell your Shan's son, feeling like you're actually killing somebody.
I mean,
like father, like son.
That is the appeal of Tarkov, though. Is like, because the amount of from what I've seen of Tarkov, I really want to play Tarkov, but the amount of work that it takes you to go from absolutely nothing jack shit to feeling super confident that you're going to be able to kill something and you have all the right gear, and then subsequently being able to make those shots without all of the fancy indicators. It's a fascinating game.
Yeah, we have thousands of hours on Armor, for example. Armor is my second most played game of all time. So that's.
I would almost say Armor's like it's a bit like the sort of FPS DCS sort of, isn't it? So it's more mixed combat as well, isn't it?
Sorry, which game are you referring to?
Armor or Armor 2, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what made Armor so good was the modding community.
Yeah,
mods made Armor good, and to be honest, most games that can be modded make those games good. In my opinion, I mean, the most recent first-person shooter game that's come out, that where all the rave is Ready or Not. Have you heard of that game?
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not. Have you heard of SWAT 4 before? That's more your time.
I've heard of SWAT, but I've not heard of Ready or Not. No.
Ready or Not is the spiritual successor to SWAT. Okay. So it's a hyper tactical police shooter where you're a SWAT member and you go to these various situations. Like one of the beginning situations is you go into this rundown drug house and you have to go arrest all the drug dealers and save overdosing children and take evidence, and you go through the map and you clear it. And that's also very similar in vein as things like Tarkov, where you can like lean around corners slowly and you very much work together as a team. I feel like team play is very big into FPS as well.
I mean, it sounds almost. I remember Rainbow Six back in the day, or something like that. Almost.
Yeah. Well, we played lots of Rainbow Six Siege, for example.
Yeah.
That game got lost to us as well. We won't get into the politics of Rainbow Six Siege, but yeah, we played that game for a lot. We got fairly high ranked in it as well. And we played a lot of COD Modern Warfare as well. We do partake in what we like to call as ADHD gamers, which is the Twitch shooting type thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the thing that those games have is a satisfying weight to them and an element of team play.
Yeah, so but I'd imagine properly working together as a team in things like COD, you could just own the entire map.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I don't remember what my win rate was, but I think I have over 80 Warzone wins, with Battle Royale wins, and most of that was with a team. And in multiplayer, we just pub stomp. It's not even fair. But there's things that we didn't like about Modern Warfare is that they forced matchmaking. So you're always matched against people your skill, even if you're in a casual game. Most people were not a fan of that, and that's what a lot of games do today as well. So that prevents us from pub stomping like all the time. But there's a new game came out called World War 3. It was not a new game, but it was re-released called World War 3, where there is no matchmaking in that game, and we could literally just play as a squad of 5 and stomp an entire game where there's 20 on each team, just from 5 people working together. So yeah, I feel like what Elite does well is allowing you all to do your own thing, be solo. I mean, one of my friends has a whole TeamSpeak channel that he's called the Space Truckers, just because he feels like a space trucker playing Elite.
Yeah.
So you've got that element of being relaxed and being able to, run those career missions.
Smokey and the Bandit kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But then you can also come together, even in the same ship, and work as a team to achieve a higher objective. I do like that about Elite. I've not done it much yet. And I feel like Odyssey also leans that way as well, from what I've seen from it. Being able to work together and do, essentially what is a dungeon, I guess.
The more as heists, almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I guess you haven't done this yet, but have you? When you escape into the wide world, I'd be interested in finding out your opinion on in doing a full wing of combat missions, or CQC for that matter. I think I'd be interested in seeing how you guys if you could find another 2 players and the 4 of you playing CQC together.
The CQC, from my understanding, it's like player v player, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a structured play v play. You know how you would go into a it's not open world PvP, a CQC, so you're limited to what ships you can choose and their loadouts. And there's game types like team deathmatch, normal deathmatch, capture the flag, etc. So it's quite structured in that way. So the controls are all the same, but it's not as gear orientated as open world PvP.
Yeah. And as Mac Winston's just saying, actually, CQC is absolutely fabulous in VR as well, because obviously that's a pure Horizons mode. So yeah, I could imagine CQC. Oh, could you flying through the tunnels and things like that in CQC in VR would be so cool.
I feel like you have an advantage. You have an advantage over non-VR gamers if you're playing CQC.
I want to try this now. Apart from the fact I'm doing a show. Damn, Shan, talk to your son. I wanted to go and play CQC in VR.
I was going to ask you. You mentioned a few things like the feeling of doing damage and the progression, etc. Have you thought about what that feels like? How would you describe to someone who's never felt that feeling of having an impact on the combat? I mean, for example, one of the things that I personally am not keen on are bullet sponges. So all you do is you find magazine after magazine after magazine at someone or something, and it's purely a matter of how many times you land hits on it. I'm not a fan of that. Is that something do you like just being able to rampage at something and empty magazines at it until it dies, or what sort of thing do you enjoy?
Well, if you have knowledge of gaming, you know every FPS game I've listed is a game where you die in 1 or 2 hits. There's no being sponged or anything. One thing I did find in Elite is I went to a high combat intensity zone in one of the starter planets thinking, oh, this is like an MMO. This is a starter planet. I'm going to be fine. And I go and I get 3 shot. And I try and solo kill targets, and I'm just there shooting lasers at them for like what seems like 3 calendar years. So obviously I adjusted my approach where I would go to these zones and then just follow the police around and let them do all the work. Like a true brave hero of Elite Dangerous.
We've all been there, done that.
How you start, man. It's how you start.
Yeah, for sure. And it's worked well. I've managed to the friend I was talking about who started, he's ahead of me, but he did spend pretty much all of Sunday grinding and managed to get the Cobra Mark III after a few hours of gameplay.
I love the Cobra. It's still one of my favorites.
And I come on for half an hour the day afterwards, and I target this big boy ship who's clearly would one-shot me, but there's about 4 police officers shooting at him, and I shoot at him, and then I get like a 2 million credit bounty just from that, and I leave. And I'm already with the Cobra Mark III after like just that half an hour of playing. So I guess it's all about luck in a way of who's being shot at in that zone. But that is the strategy I've found, and that's something that my friends told me to do, and people in my friend group have played this game previously, and also my dad. So I thought this has got to work, so I'll try that, and it did. But I do feel like enemies are very bullet spongy, but I think that's not a proponent of the game. I feel like that's just because I'm an ultra noob.
Yeah, you get a bit of engineering in there and a bigger ship, and you'll be like.
So does because another part of Elite, and I'm sure you've zoomed out to see the galaxy map and seen every single pixel on that galaxy map is a star system.
Yeah.
Does exploring that attract you in any way, or are you much more the PPU kind of combat orientated?
I've never once got into a game going, I'm just going to go around look at the environments. It just doesn't do it for me. I appreciate the environment though, for sure. I think it's very well made, and it looks great in VR. Obviously, it's lower res in VR than it is in flat screen, but you don't get that sense of awe like you do in VR. The galaxy map, people have mentioned that it's awful to use, and I agree, to be honest, especially in VR.
That is true, yeah.
And it's really, I feel like it's very unintuitive in VR. I've gotten used to it now, but again, it still winds me up a bit. And being able to have to flip through all the options for it using a HOTAS while you're in VR is a hard thing to do. I feel like it's something I have to develop muscle memory for. I've gotten better at it. But yeah, the environments that you can travel to look a lot better in VR with that overall, where it's in your peripherals. You've got depth perception. You've got the idea of it just taking up your entire eye line instead of your immersion being ruined by being in a monitor. Just obviously, if you've never tried VR before, it's hard to explain what it's like. All I can recommend is make a friend with VR, buy a headset and try it, and then return it or something.
I mean, I know at LaveCon and things like that, or Elite Community Meet, we usually have VR. Although, I guess if you break out the Dettel and things like that, we can maybe still do that in post-COVID days. We'll have to think about that.
Well, that's where I first experienced Elite in VR, was at LaveCon.
Same.
I think I first was on Stephen Usher's original Oculus DK2. Anyway, the first ever Oculus that came out was on that, and its resolution wasn't anything to write home about. But as you say, that lack of looking at a monitor and being able to see the sheer scale of everything, because the ships and stuff and the stations are way, way bigger than you think they are on the flat screen.
As I've said on the show, at least, but I know the very first time I tried VR, I was then encouraged. I flew around a bit, and that was fine. I was then encouraged stand up and have a look around a bit and things like that. And then I started talking to the guy whose VR rig it was, and whilst we were talking, I leaned on the back of the pilot seat, which of course isn't there.
So you fell forward?
I fell very forward.
So have you looked?
Mm.
So I was going to ask, have you looked around the cockpit yet? Have you stood up and looked around the cockpit? In
I wasn't
VR.
aware that was a feature you could do.
It is.
Well,
You
I'll certainly do that.
basically you take your head off and then you can walk around, and then if you've got your Oculus controllers on you, you can just keep resetting your position.
Yeah. No, I'll certainly try that. Sounds very fun.
It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of
Like little hidden details, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I hate about Monitor is the fact that your view is fixed.
Mhm.
I'm sure you can use. I don't know if you can use head tracking.
You
Really
can, yeah.
dangerous. I do
Yeah.
have head tracking. It's what I used before VR for DCS.
Yeah, there is head tracking in Elite.
And I can also imagine you can bind an access to it as well, but I haven't actually needed to do that.
It's on your mouse by default, I believe, or at least it's on my mouse by default. If I press the middle mouse button, then I go into free book.
Yeah, but my point is that's extra steps. I feel like a lot of people would argue moving your neck is harder than pressing the mouse button, but I've got youth on my side.
Yeah, for some of us, I know. My biggest concern against head tracking was I'm such a fidget, especially when I'm if I'm just lurking, I'll look left, I'll look right, and I don't want my monitor swinging around just because I'm fidgeting. Whereas if I'm in VR, I don't really care that my monitor's swinging around because it's not swinging around. I'm just looking about as you do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I found with head tracking as well, because I've got two screens, and I'll have Elite on one screen and Netflix or the browser on the second screen, and it was like, okay, I'm looking at Netflix now, I'm looking at the browser now on the second screen, and I've looked away from. Yeah, it's just. So, in terms of what do you think the point of Elite is? Just a question.
The same point as any MMO. Community and getting better within that community. There's no people, in my opinion, people do not grind for hours on end to do something, to bring them to just not have it affect anyone else. If you see what I mean. So there are a lot of single player games where you grind, of course, but I'm aware that the Elite grind is very long. And as it is for a lot of MMOs, I know this isn't officially MMO, but let's be honest, it is an MMO. And it certainly plays like MMOs from a new player's perspective. I mean, I'm sure some people will staunchly disagree with me on that. It's not an MMO, but let's be honest, it is. And I feel like in MMOs, the grind is always much more palatable because you know that you're there and you can get into a community of people, even if you're not one, where it realizes your grind. It makes it worth it. You have a big ship, you have a cool weapon, you have great build skill set, and you can be there with those people and make it work to complete a higher objective, just to make yourself a bigger cog in the machine. And I feel like that's the point of Elite, is the incentive of I'm going to put this solo effort in because I know that perhaps I'll be able to realize it with other players and we can do something with that. I know that does definitely not for everyone, that thing, but I definitely think it's a majority of players feel like that.
Do you?
It's a very free game.
It's a bit early. It's a bit early days yet. But do you have any goals that you would like to achieve in Elite?
No, not really. I'd quite like to learn how to mine. Actually find the stuff for that, and then learn how to core mine. There's a lot in it that you can learn and achieve that isn't grindy. Learn for the first time. And the fact that you can do so many different things in it, like if you're getting bored of mining, you can then go do the combat. I find the combat very fun. Or if you're bored of that and you want to just go do housework, which is what you referenced earlier, you can do courier missions, long distance courier missions. It very sandboxy, which is really good in my opinion. I feel like that's excellent.
Yeah, I love the sandboxy aspects of games like this in general.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be even more stupid than flying to Hutton in Odyssey, you can take a taxi around when you're on foot, and at least partly to wind Shan up, I took a taxi from Lave all the way to Hutton, just because I could.
It's like a space Uber, basically.
Yeah. So it's not.
Uber.
I'm not even flying my ship. I'm getting somebody else to fly me there. And
you wouldn't let me fly you there.
Yes, because you'd eject me en route.
That's it. So okay, so basically you haven't got. I wouldn't say you haven't got an aim in mind, but basically you're just seeing how it goes, just kind of see what happens, really.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably play it intermittently on my own, but mainly with my friend.
Definitely better with friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of cool. I said earlier that I don't usually play games to look at the environment, and that what I mean by that is I don't solely play a game just to go around and look at the environment. As beautiful
I
as
know
it
there
is.
are some people who they will literally go and spend half an hour.
Oh, for
looking
sure.
off into the sunset.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I'm quite looking forward to exploring different areas, but with a purpose. It's a secondary thing.
So have you landed on a planet yet and messed around with the buggy?
No, I haven't yet. But that's something I'd like to do.
Does Horizons get the Scarab? But they don't, do they?
Horizons get the Scarab. Odyssey gets the Scorpion and the Scarab.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've owned this game for a while. I'm only just playing it now because of VR. So the reason I got into this game is because of VR, to be honest, as I heard it was a good VR experience. And I picked up the game for free on Epic Games when it was free. Not that it's expensive.
Yeah,
and Epic launches it fairly well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why I've bought it. That's why now I've tried it with a friend. And it's fortunate that my dad is like probably middling to average good at this game. So
I'd say a little bit higher than that, probably. I suspect.
That's very high praise coming from you, and knowing how.
He knows enough.
Yeah, he's passable, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt like I'd surpass him with even just an hour of research.
Yeah, listen at it. There's always one, the apprentice and the master, isn't there?
I am so looking forward to the two of you in a fair duel. You're like sidewinders at 100 kilometers or something.
Well, he'll go on about age and experience and all that stuff, and yeah, that might play a part in him probably killing me, but I have a higher potential, so you know.
Yeah.
You've got that reaction speed on your side.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to sidewinders at 100 kilometers. That would be a lot. I think that would be a lot of fun.
We'll see, but we'll just see how it goes. Really, just don't. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming on. I found it really interesting and really useful. I hope other people have
enjoyed it.
So thank you for coming on. Ben, you got any questions? More than Si?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, mate.
It was great.
The only questions I would want to ask are things that I probably shouldn't ask, like any embarrassing stories about your dad.
Oh yeah, like give us all of those right now. You've got like 2 minutes.
But we'll probably pass on them, I suspect.
Well, that's mutual assured destruction, isn't it?
It really is. That is mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
No, there's no reason. I've called him middling average. That's enough. I will say one thing. This whole mini Shan thing has to stop today.
It's been either mini Shan or the Shanlings.
I'm 6'3". All right. My dad's about 4'2".
That's all I needed. Thank you very much.
And there's no mini Shan here. Maybe a few years ago, but you know,
I didn't want to dox you or anything else like that. So it's the mark of respect.
But now I've been on the
mini Shan. Well, you have, but it doesn't mean to say you'd have to listen every week to chastise me for not using mini Shan. So
it's all right. I'll do it. I'll chastise them. It's not a problem. I will quite happily shoulder that burden.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll happily grass on your dad whenever he says that.
Excellent.
I was going to say something actually. Oh, that's what I was going to say actually. is I'm going to embarrass Shan now, and obviously, he's talked about you and your brother in the past, on the show and off the show as well, and it is blatantly obvious how proud he is of you guys. And I'll just leave it there so he doesn't get too embarrassed.
Oh, he would never say that. He'd only just say, park the car in a different place on the drive, or something like that.
I thought he got the car to park itself these days.
Oh, no. I am that system.
Not his own personal car. It's not. It's parking Tetris in our driveway sometimes.
No, there is a lot of love in our family, and I'm very fortunate to have it.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of my dad too.
Shall we move on from this? And thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. It was great.
Right. Well, Psychic, do you want to do the community corner, or shall I?
Yeah, I can do it. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, Community Corner, the Burr Pit have restarted their breakfast briefings, which are normally at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't tend to catch them because sometimes I'm streaming as well. But it is very funny watching Burr trying to teach Rini how to snipe, and Burr taking a lot of flack from everybody. It's great. They're streaming on YouTube now, so go and watch it. It's great. And also a special mention to Commander Chig of Hillbilly Redneck Radio, or Loose Screws. I didn't write this. I want to clarify that I didn't write this.
This sounds like Colin.
I know, right? He's trying tonight to reach CQC Elite and becoming only the 6th person to get Sex Tuple Elite.
And what's in brackets say?
Ben, don't say anything. I'm pretty sure it's about the word sex. I'm pretty sure that was what he was preempting, was that Ben was gonna say something funny about Sex Tuple. Ben, would you like to say something funny about Sex Tuple? The floor is yours. Cool, good talk.
There's 6 of them?
Sure.
So, I mean, it has to be better than twins, I guess.
That was a very poor setup, Si, because it sounded like you were like school teacher wanting to.
Well, just say something. Like, if you want to say something, if you want to be a lewd, do a lewd. The issue is we've got no one to embarrass by it, so it's kind of, it falls on deaf ears right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So, in any other business, apparently you missed. There was a Star Wars Squadrons free fly date or something like that. I did see it was going free. It's been going free on a couple of things recently. I know it was Star Wars Squadrons is great. If anyone still hasn't got it, get it. And that's very good in VR as well, actually, Lawyer. If you like Star Wars and you like VR, play Star Wars Squadrons. It's amazing in VR.
Oh, it's on my list.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, it's like you are sitting in an X-wing, and it's like, oh, even better than TIE Fighter. Oh, I don't know, X-wing and TIE Fighter, they're both amazing. Anyway, and that was going free on Amazon, I know, over the weekend, and I think it's been going free or very cheap on both Steam and on Origin. But apparently that ended yesterday, so tough now. Sorry.
That's a really useful. That's a really useful.
I didn't write this. Colin wrote it.
It's going free, but it's not now, so tough.
Yeah, it was going free, so it sucks to be you.
Just to let you know, it's no longer going free, but I just want to make sure that you have the information that you missed out.
Yeah, you should have gotten it anyways.
I love Colin so much.
And apparently Chris Mark IV did a lunchtime show on Black Diamond FM. Some kind of Sunday lunch cooking show or something, I guess.
No, he does it every week,
radio.
Ben. He does it every week, every Sunday. So yeah, every Sunday.
Did you have that?
Yeah, I did it.
Oh,
He
you
does
added
a
that.
show every Sunday. Yeah, he does a show every Sunday.
Is it a cooking show?
No, it's just
Oh.
music and chat. Music and chat.
Music and chat. Not cook. I think it should be a cooking show at Sunday lunchtime. Damn it! But
No, that's
apparently
not
not.
I'd want a cooking show before Sunday lunchtime because I'd want to learn how to cook Sunday lunch. When
No,
I
but
don't,
that would-
I'm not under pressure to serve Sunday lunch.
Is that not Saturday morning though? Anyway.
I literally have no idea what's going on. It's brilliant.
That's part of the course there, really, isn't it?
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
All right. Has anybody else got anything else they want to say then? I'm going to make an assumption and say that's a no. So in that case, then I'll move on to our shout-outs and say I want to give a shout out to some of our console listeners, the Elite Xbox Stellar Alliance, who are currently in a player faction war involving 25 player factions, which is that's a lot of commander groups that are going on there and doing all that stuff. So best of luck to everybody involved in that. So I want to give a shout out to our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, who broadcast on Thursdays from 8:30. You can tune in and listen to them on twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or the audio only is on radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who enjoys a spot of CQC action, this is what we were talking about earlier, their lawyer, you can check out the CQC Discord, which is at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We also want to give a shout out to our fellow Elite Dangerous podcasters who are, at last count, the Algarab FFAM, Black Sky Legion, Canon Podcast, there's EliteCast for the Spanish community, there's the Fatherhood Podcast, there's Flight Assist, which some of us might have heard something about.
Yeah, I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. There's the Guard Frequency. They also do other things. There's Loose Screws, who we believe are the hillbillies over there. There's Squeaking Fuel. And there's also System Chat. If you want a bit of literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, please subscribe to Alan Stroud's Data Slate podcast. We also, I believe, Norman, we do have a Galnet news this week.
Yes, we do.
Yay! So
Yes,
we have some Galnet news telling us everything that's been going on. They read the news so we don't have to, by Commander Wotherspoon and Beetlejude. I want to thank Miggles, and I think Mac Winston was also here in game, although I've been ignoring them since Colin vanished. I want to thank everybody who's been joining us on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook if you've been there. Although if you're on Facebook, I don't know why you are, but that's just personal. A special thanks to Commander Tokoseo, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created the music involved in the show. Last call for anything else. Nope, that's right. So that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email us at info@laveradio.com. You can hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/laveradio. You can tweet us at Lave Radio. We are on Discord by going to discord.io/Lave Radio. There is also a TeamSpeak server where commanders get to chat and all that good stuff at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Feel free to get in touch with the show in any way you like, if you got any questions or if there's anything you'd like for us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening with a live studio audience at 20:30, whatever time it is in the UK, because we can't be bothered converting anything. And it's streamed out at laveradio.com/live and in various other places as well. Thank you very much to Shan, to Psykit, to Half a Colin, and to Mini Maxi Moxie Shan, aka the Internet Lawyer. Until next time, Commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted.
You need a safe word.
Space can be lonely.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
According to scientists, Uranus is full of methane gas.
I think you're right, though, Colin.
What have you done with Shan, and when can we have him back?
Galnet News Digest, 1st of February 3308. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, we ask why Azimuth seems so keen to attract Thargoids. We review the short and decisive elimination of Sirius from Riort, and we return to the mystery of the missing Orisa.
Why does Azimuth Biochemicals want a lure for Thargoids? Azimuth Biochemicals is the outfit behind Project Seraph, a partially successful attempt to get humans to control and fly a Thargoid scout spaceship. 5 years ago, just before the galaxy became aware of the return of the Thargoids, at a time when Azimuth's enforcers were actively destroying all evidence of a Thargoid invasion, to the extent that they raided survey ships and disabled listening posts to suppress the knowledge of the Thargoid hordes massing near the Pleiades. Azimuth scientist Professor Thomas Dawn was conducting chimera experiments on a captured Thargoid scout and several hundred captive humans. Many of the humans were killed by the effort of trying to control the Thargoid craft, but a handful managed to get it to respond in various limited ways. The experiments had to stop when their one Thargoid scout stopped working. And now we find that in the middle of last year, the person in charge of Azimuth, a cipher known as the Witch, organised the theft of 400,000 tons of Guardian artefacts from the Aegis megaship Alexandria. One of the Witch's operatives let slip that the reason for the theft was to lure Thargoids closer. Bringing these two facts together, it is possible that Azimuth has resumed Project Seraph, having lured in and captured more Thargoid ships. If the program restarted 6 months ago, and if a substantial number of Thargoid scouts have been captured, and if the program is able to build upon its partial successes in 3303, then there may be a research base somewhere that is swarming with Thargoid scouts operated by human pilots. Perhaps there are Thargoid interceptors in the Azimuth Biochemicals fleet too. Perhaps the 200-year-old organisation and its one-time competitor Pharmasapien have developed a fleet of attack ships that outwardly look like and behave just like Thargoids, but which are put into combat by human generals, and which, when deployed within a strategic plan, form an almost unstoppable force that could sweep across the bubble, trashing Federal, Imperial, Sirius and Alliance navies, and install the Witch as the supreme ruler of the galaxy. It sounds incredible, but It fits the facts as we currently know them. And there are even commanders who would jump at the chance to have their cranium prized open to allow themselves to be interfaced to the control surfaces of a basilisk, to be part of the Witcher's all-conquering battle fleet, to be the drones that sacrifice themselves for the victory, for the greater good.
It didn't take long for the Riort Mining Coalition, with assistance from like-minded Alliance pilots and others, to comprehensively defeat the Sirius troops that had been assigned to protect the system from Thargoid attack. Many in the Alliance, and particularly in the Old Worlds, deeply distrust Prime Minister Mahn's secret treaty with the Sirius Corporation that allows Sirius Navy free access to Alliance systems in exchange for protection from what's currently perceived to be a vanishingly small xeno-threat in these systems, nestled as they are in the heart of the human-occupied bubble. The Alliance has, of course, many systems in the Witchhead and Coalsack nebulas that are still fighting off the tail of the Thargoid invasions from the end of last year, and that have stations appealing for repair assistance. But those systems are far from the comfortable systems in the bubble that deem Sirius Navy an unwarranted imposition. And those outlying systems are, after all, a consequence of the Prime Minister's expansionist policies, policies that Councillor Kane opposes. It's not clear at this early stage what the implication will be for the rest of the Sirius deployment in Alliance space. Riort was seen as something of a test case for whether the Old Worlds would accept a foreign naval presence in their systems. These systems in particular espouse the old formula that the Alliance is a loose banding together of independent systems that each have their own governments and their own way of doing things, and that the Alliance Assembly on Alioth exists primarily to present a united front on trade and foreign policy. The Council of Admirals similarly provides a united alliance front on defence, but it does not control the individual navies of each independent system within the alliance. Prime Minister Mahn may be well advised to pay heed to the rapid defeat of the Chariot of Rhea in Riort, and to ask Li Yong-ri to remove the Sirius Navy presence from the other Old World systems before the citizens of those systems also take matters into their own hands.
The mystery of the missing Emperor continues. Last week's message, ostensibly from the Emperor, claiming that Arissa is alive and well, just not willing to show her face in public for fear of NMLA assassins, will not sit well with traditionalists. Is the Empire afraid of its enemies? Must the Emperor remain in hiding for a whole year because of a bunch of fringe lunatics who believe they can bring about representative democracy by blowing up starports? It's not a good message to send to your citizens. But more than that, the message raises concerns about who the Emperor trusts. ACT has come close to openly accusing members of the Imperial Intelligence of direct collusion with the NMLA terrorists, and yet the Emperor says she is taking her security advice from Imperial Intelligence, and that she remains in hiding on their advice because of what the message describes as a legitimate assassination attempt. Can she really trust Imperial Intelligence? And what if she's being looked after by members of the agency that are loyal not to her, but to the NMLA? In any case, a note signed using Omega Grid technology cannot be trusted. The NMLA is known to have access to the encryption technology that underlies the Empire's secure messaging network, and the message could easily have been tampered with, or faked entirely. We do not know that the Emperor is safe. We do not know the Empire is safe. The Emperor could easily be in the hands of the NMLA, and no one would know. Without reliable information, the Empire is powerless.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.
Lave Radio and those joining from that channel, thank you for bringing over your folks. Welcome to the stream.